Good evening. I thought I'd come on here and walk you through something that is also near and dear to me on top of watercoloring and mixed media and all the things, and that is my art journals, or are my art journals. I started doing these in 2020. They sort of evolved from my traditional scrapbooking, which is building those layout pages in a 12 by 12 format or 10 by 10 or 8 by 8, where you use paper and print your photos and you make it themed or unthemed or whatnot. And then I evolved into like project life type stuff because I really like the aspect of simplifying. So kind of documenting my day-to-day, but also capturing the photo still to kind of, have those memories documented. And then in 2020, I sort of picked up art journaling or more bullet journaling. So this is my 2021. I have a couple other ones over in the screen or off screen here. And then this is my 2025 one. So I wanted to kind of show you and do a small flip through of the 2020 and kind of how I started using the bullet journal. And then I'll kind of walk through sort of what I've evolved into for 2025. So I'll just move this one out of the way here. So this is my 2020 bullet journal. So I know that it's a dotted journal. This one is the Artist Loft brand from Michaels. And it is the, I can't remember the paper weight, but it is not, I think it's like 96 maybe GSM. I can't remember, but it's not super thick. And I could have bought the authentic bullet journal, but I decided to just, let's try this out. And this is sort of a trial. I think these notebooks are, this one is $8.99. And then they have a premium one, which is my 2025 one, which it runs $13.99 Canadian. I really wanted a space to capture my to-dos and my tasks and dreams and goals, but also sort of provide a place to archive my day-to-day. And so I figured a bullet journal was probably a great way to do it. Another thing I also really wanted to capture was just some art. I really like to, capture quotes and kind of find a way, an artistic way to express it. So in here, you can see my first page ever in my first bullet journal ever was just a quick, who owns this bullet journal, with some watercolor pencils and a quick sketch. And then here you can see a quote with, a Pinterest inspired sketch as well. That's me, an iPhone meme of me. And then this is sort of the beginnings of the booklet here. So it's pretty sporadic, I would say. Always remembering my why, which are my 2 kids. And then again, I started in May of 2020, so a few months after COVID started. So I started with tracking my sleep and tracking challenges I'm putting myself through, and any other sort of habits, documenting quotes and using some of these memory, I think they're called my Big Happy Planner stickers, which sort of I loved and didn't love because I felt like I was really confined a little bit to sort of what was in there in the sticker books, and I didn't love everything in those sticker books, so I would end up using some of it and sort of giving away the rest, which really wasn't ideal. Here I used a bunch of stamps and then just watercolor to kind of color in the pages. So you can see I'm trying to do a lot of a little bit of arty stuff, a little bit of quotes or stickers I like, with some habit tracking and some documentation of, life. Tracking books that I've read, again, doing some arting in my journal, challenges, etc. So this is sort of what this book was mainly into. So again, this is then here, kind of documenting my day or a memory, and then including a photo, with the page itself as a memory connector, and then habit tracking and stuff. And so I don't remember here are all these colors. So this was sort of the colors that connected, I believe, to my values, because I did kind of did some deep diving into what are my values, and I kind of figured those out and tried to align kind of what my habits were in my day-to-day to whether I was living my values. So then this is when I sold my car, my great Mazda 3 of 13.5 years. And I sold it relatively quickly, which was awesome. Here's some more habit tracking. So a lot of this was just art tracking, started doing some gratitude, brain dumping, trying to challenge myself. Around this time frame, I also kind of started mixed media a little bit. It was an area that I wanted to explore. But it became challenging for me in the sense that it felt too broad and structured, where I had a really hard time starting because I didn't know what and how to start. So really working through that, and could just remember to just start. But I really like some of the, when I did watercolor or used gelatos and stuff like that, I really like the layouts that sort of turned out. I use it to, like, you know, keep track of little things that I get in the mail. So sort of like a junk journal, but not quite also. So what I was really trying to do was blend a bunch of different ways of documenting and tracking, and not using multiple journals, and just sort of capturing all in one. But for this one, again, I found the paper fairly decent. This was me kind of trialing through it. And I did like that when I'm doing my journaling, I'm not limited to one page or, you know, a few pages, and then I had to start the next day. This one I could really just kind of date what the date that I was working in, and then journal or document, you know, whatever I was documenting, and then continue from there. So there were days, I believe this one is from 2020 to 2021. So I wasn't consistent in journaling every day. It was really just a practice for when I had time and when I could get to it. I would come in here and journal or document life. So that's sort of primarily how I did this. So I sort of included, you know, notes and photos. I would say if you're interested in these photos in terms of like how I printed them, I used a sprocket, and I would say that it probably isn't the best machine for printing photos because the color is really off on them. I don't know if you can see it in camera as much, but there's just like always like a reddish or bluish tone to them, and it's not my favorite. But I do love the simplicity and ease of just printing a photo and getting it done, so I could just put in my journal and call it a day. What I didn't like was, you know, not every photo is 2x3 sized. You can collage in the sprocket, but the photos then become smaller. And it just, for the look of it, I just wasn't a big fan. So yeah, so this is me journaling. Just gonna flip through these super quickly. Oh, the COVID vaccine. Won't get into that. And then anything my like kiddos draw me or, you know, make for me, if I can, I like kind of pop it in here in my journal as well. And that's sort of how the first journal went. Then we fast forward to 2025, because I won't show you the other two books. They really ranged from, I think one book was from August 2023 to September 2024. The other one was previous to that, so from October 2021 to August 2023. So there were various levels of consistency with my journaling and art journaling. And I sort of call my journaling like booge art, which really probably doesn't even sound that good. But it's just I'm trying to think of how I can blend all these different ways of capturing my life. So, and I mean, I did use My Big Happy Planner, the ones that have the big coils, but I didn't like the cover. I didn't like the coils per se because they were big and chunky and clunky. Even the smaller size was also, you know, clunky and chunky, and I like the ease of changing out the pages, but not so much, you know, just the bigness of it. So when I found these journals, it was a great happy medium. So this one here is the same brand, Artist Loft brand. It is 120 GSM, which was important to me. So I'll just flip through to the back page so you can see the paper. So this is what the paper looks like. It's just dotted. The pages are also numbered, and then they are thicker. So I've done, you know, pen tests and marker tests, and I typically like to use my Tombow and my jelly rolls and my mild liners, and they typically don't have any bleed through, with the exception of some of my jelly rolls. And then here's some Posca markers as well, which you can see have no bleed through. Okay, so so when I first started, this is my 2025. So I went from September 2024 to nothing for the rest of 2024. And then 2025 started, and I said, okay, I want to get back into it again. So picked up a new journal, again, $13.99 at Michael's, Canadian. And then this is how I started. So I started very much similarly to the way I was managing my other 3 journals. But this time I decided to do things a little bit differently just because I wanted a sense of organization still and documentation of my sort of my day-to-day, where I wasn't really doing that in the previous journals, where I didn't really document my to-dos or my tasks, you know, journaling kind of daily. I wanted to sort of make that a better practice or a stronger practice. This is just the contents of page that I add to as I build my journal. And then I kind of started in January. So January was just sort of a Mod Podge, you know, when I had something to journal or document, I would come in here and journal it. Again, still putting in quotes and any sort of stickers and stuff that I liked, still having, you know, goals for the year that I wanted to accomplish. Some are big, some are small, some we'll see if I get to, because some of these are carryovers from 2024 as well. And then a gratitude page. So I feel like it's really important to have a gratitude page. I like looking back and, you know, it kind of helps trigger memories and stories of your life and people in your life or things you're grateful for. So, and it kind of gives you a point in time to focus, or like, yeah, a point in time to focus on at the end of the day. Because I typically do them at the end of the day because I know some people do it when they wake up. But I prefer to do it at the end of the day when my day has sort of happened. And then I can sit there and reflect on it and pull out what is the one thing that I'm most grateful for in my day. So there could be a variety of different things that I was grateful for, but I usually just document the one big thing, just because it's more manageable. I found when I first started gratitude journaling, I was trying to do my top 3 for the day, and it became over time, depending on the time, it sort of ebbed and flowed. But I would notice that sometimes it was a struggle, and I would be grateful for the blue sky 6 times in a row or something. And that just wasn't, you know, maybe that is something to be grateful for, of course, but I didn't want that monotony, I guess, in my journal. So 1 is sustainable for me and manageable, and I can really just kind of go through, and as I'm reflecting, I'm thinking about all the things I'm grateful for, but then I'm really, again, just pulling out that one impactful one for me for that day. So you can see here, you know, we go skip from January 1st or 2nd, I think, to the 5th. Again, just journaling. This is where I tried to capture a quote, you know, nicely in my journal with some calligraphy, and my penmanship is just, it's growing. It's a growth process, I would say. You can see how ugly these 2 L's turned out. Actually, I think I made a mistake. I put with instead of will and tried to like correct it, and it just turned into a big ugly mistake, but that's okay. You know, we move through the imperfections and love it anyways. But I did love the quote from Mel Robbins. And my calligraphy is sort of a work in progress. It's something I've never really practiced, but I try to, you know, if I don't practice it, then I'm never going to get better. So it's just where I can, I'm instilling little bits of calligraphy or penmanship into my journaling. And then we go into February. So for now here, I kind of start through the same way, you know, gratitude page, and then I started sort of printing off like I did in my previous journals. But now I was doing like batch printing basically. So I was taking an 8.5 by 11 document into Word, taking in all the photos of the quotes and whatever screenshots I had that I wanted to capture in my journal, popping in any photos as well, and then printing it off onto a Word document so I could cut the pieces out and just adhere them into my page and call it a day, just so for a quick documentation and capturing. So I was doing some of that, and then again some more photos from my day or my week or whatever this was. Trying to document a routine. I'm always trying to build a routine. I don't know if any of you are also struggling with routines. I guess I wouldn't say that I'm struggling with it, but it's difficult, I guess, to keep up with all these things. So I think I have to always be mindful to be like, okay, maybe I miss my breath work for 2 minutes for the day, but it's okay because I did all these 3 other things that I wanted to do. So I think it's, again, just that ebb and flow and prioritizing and reprioritizing. But there are definitely certain habits that I want to consistently build and be stronger in, so that overall it's a positive impact to my health and mental well-being. So February is sort of, I'm just trying to flip through to some pages here. So I think in here, yeah, so in February, I lost my job. So I had, you know, lots of journaling about it to kind of help me process and move through things. You can see lots of journaling, lots of words. Nothing bad, just really me processing and reflecting what this means and what this looks like and what I made it mean for me and how I'm going to move forward from there. And then I had some things that I found online. Again, it's sort of like your phone's always listening to you or something, I don't know, but all these things sort of always pop up around the same time frame. And so they were just very relevant, and so I printed them off so I could, when I get back to reviewing and taking a look at what this next, phase of my career will look like, I have some of these things to kind of help propel me and, instigate that change and help me figure out my next steps. And they also serve as a reminder to you that, change is change and we just keep going. And how do we keep going? What are the things we do, the actions we take to kind of keep going? So then now we move into March. So January, February were very tiny. It was just me building a practice. And then obviously the loss of my job sort of prompted, it opened more time for me. So I was able to journal more. And so you'll see that in March leading up to April, what the journaling has sort of evolved into. So from here, again, a gratitude page for March. And then again, just, journaling, documenting. I think this was from listening to Mel Robbins' podcast about habits, which if you haven't listened to, highly recommend. Also, if you haven't read the Atomic Habits book, I also highly recommend that. It's just a great book to kind of help put things into fruition. This is laughable, maybe even the font, but I tried to start 75 hard because now that I have the time to myself, how hard could it actually be? Well, let me tell you, I did 3 days of it and it was hard because life happens and you really have to learn to prioritize it. And it became another thing for me to reflect on and understand, like, is this something that I'm trying to make myself do? Like another challenge, which I know now that challenges just aren't productive for me because as soon as I hit a roadblock, I can't continue forward. I feel like I have to pick up right from where I left off. And if I miss that day, they just kind of continue to compound. And then I basically just give up. So that's sort of what I figured here was sort of happening. I really wanted to do it, but it was more just me trying to push for that again. And it just really wasn't worth it. So it's like, okay, how do I simplify this? Because really 75 hard is really, when I looked at it and reflect on it, it's really kind of some of the basic habits that I really want to instill. So like the movement, the hydration, getting sleep, reading, that sort of thing. And so I decided to let's just start small. Let's just work on where we can and progress from there. So I eliminated this. And then here's some more journaling for March. And then I started playing around some layouts, some stickers and stuff, because I really do like, just some difference, I guess, and some art and whatnot in the journal. So this one uses some stickers that a friend had given me. I play on a volleyball team. We call ourselves the Greasy Alpacas. This is our newest logo for this year. This is some of my team members, and this is with some of their family members. And I just really like this page overall because it's really colorful. And it has, it's a horrible photo of me, but it shows how happy I am. And then it just has our team, and we just are a lovely team where we've, grown together, not just in the sport, but also as friends, which I'm super grateful for. And then this is another layout. Again, this is me trying to incorporate a little bit more art into my journal while also documenting my day-to-day. And then this is art from my little guy that I also put in here because I like to capture that, capture some of their artwork they give me and have a place to kind of look back on. Okay, and then from here, I bought a bunch of washi stickers and PET tape from the washi tape shop, and I really like them. I find they're super cute. What I did was I swatched all of them so that when I wanted to use them, I could see what ones I had and what ones I wanted to use and what roll they were from. Because if you haven't ordered from the washi tape shop before, their stickers or their washi tape and their PET tape come in a roll. And the roll typically has probably, I haven't unraveled all of mine yet, but I think it's got at least over 4 times repeat of, the initial pattern, initial stickers. So it's a lot of like stickers that you get in a roll, but it's all very repetitive as well. So this was just a good way for me, like if I know I'm, you know, doing something at home and I know I have a home sticker or something reflective of that, I can flip through this, my little swatch pages, I guess you will, and pick it out so that I can pick it out accordingly in my sticker box. But that being said, that's my one downfall, or one con, I guess, if you will, of the washi tape shop rolls, is I love how many stickers you actually get from a roll. But I wish the rolls were small. I would have been happy just ordering a roll that had two, you know, like a duplicate set of the sticker type. But I mean, I guess they're great for sharing too if I decide not to use them, or there's other uses too. I mean, I can always also use them when I send mail, or use them on envelopes, or anything really. So then we fast forward over into some more journaling, reflections. Here's a quote and a sticker. And then this is where I sort of get more into the Hobonichi style, if you will. This is my own version or adaptation based on, you know, different things I've seen, and trying to incorporate, you know, today, what I've got going on today, any sort of updates or any sort of tasks, and then a prompt, and then kind of free flow for journaling. When I started this on March 22nd, I did include a gratitude box in here, but I quickly, within a few days, realized that I don't really want the gratitude box in the page or in the layout for the day, because I really enjoy my gratitude page where I can see everything at a glance, versus flipping through to each of the pages to find, you know, to see what I was grateful for that day. So this is again, this is what we would call a daily log, I guess. And so I have, you know, my initial start, and then I sort of, you know, any sort of thoughts or events that kind of happen through the day. At the end of the night, I'll go back and kind of journal it. Or sometimes I play catch up, you know, in a few days or at the end of the week. So again, more similar, trying to incorporate some drawing and some stickers and some layouts. So sort of blending again that scrapbooking, art, journaling, planning, all together. So I didn't have to use, you know, several different notebooks to do one thing. I did an aerial float back at the end of March, where you were suspended. You like basically sat, or I guess like laid in these, you know, I don't even know, like fabric cocoons, I guess you will. And then they played music and sound bathed you, and you just meditated and just chilled. It was amazing. If you have that anywhere near you, I would definitely recommend trying it out. Then here I'm trying to play around with more of my stickers and trying to get a feel for what I like, what I don't like. And I just want to use up some of my stickers. Some of them I hate waste, I guess. So I'm always trying, not that these are ones I don't like. I do love flowers and stuff, and I do really like this layout. But sometimes you buy things and you're just like, what do I use this for? Or I don't want this to go to waste. I just, you know, need to use it up. And so I'll try to use them up in my layout. But usually when I do that, when I use things I don't like, I end up not liking the layout. So I'm trying to do less of that also, because we don't need that negativity in our life. These are washi tape stickers. This is a roll that I feel like I did not swatch. Nope, I did not, but it's all just black flowers with rose gold gilt on it. It's a beautiful tape. I don't know if it catches in camera or not, but it's beautiful. Some more washi tape. This is me trying to be a little creative. I've seen some of these window cutouts on the washi tape shop tutorials and stuff, and I wanted to try it out myself. So I really loved how this page turned out, because it's just really, I don't know, it's like peek into a garden of someone just sitting there reading a book or journaling. So this is, again, very much the same thing, dailies. And then we move into April. So April, I started doing something a little bit different. I decided to do a little calendar for the spread. So I have a stories and a gratitude page. So this is a layout for the month. I have a little calendar, you know, 3 focus habits that I want to focus on, or 3 things I want to, you know, try to focus on to accomplish. And then the days of the month, and then my story highlight for that day, and what I'm grateful for that day. So sometimes they're one and the same, sometimes they're different. Most of the times they are different, because kind of the highlight of my day is different from sometimes like what I'm grateful for in that day. And then I have a monthly check-in page that I'll come back to at the end of the month before I start May, the next month, a brain dump page, and I'll have to link or post kind of where I got these layouts from, because it was from another planner who sort of did her own thing in her bullet journal as well, which I really liked. It served me really well. And then I kind of go into my daily vlogs, or daily logs, I guess. Sorry, not vlog. Here I have like the date, and then my today to do prompt, and then same thing. So if I didn't have anything more to document in my, you know, the later pages, then I would just continue and start the next day for that day's log. So then I'm trying to do some vision boarding here. I got a free kit that I'm kind of working through, but again, it's another to-do on top of my to-dos. So I'm slowly working through it because it is something I want to look at and manifest, etc. And then here's some more vision boarding, and then some more journaling pages and day logs. And then somewhere along here, it starts to change. So you can see I'm starting to do it a little bit different, capturing some of those day-to-days, my little kiddos. And then this is where I started to, okay, so April sort of was my month to kind of figure out what do I want in my journal going forward. And so I feel like I've landed on a fairly happy medium. So again, we're going with the, you know, monthly stories and gratitude page. We have the monthly check-in, the brain dump, and then it goes into, in here goes into the daily logs. But I wanted a weekly page or a weekly spread before the daily logs, because I really wanted to, I have a ton of cute stickers I want to use to capture my day or my different like events or meetings or outings or whatnot. So this page here was really just trialing what worked in terms of spacing to build that page out and kind of how I want it to look. So this was super fun. This was super freeing. I just let myself mark up the page, and then I could use this as a template in a way. So this is what I landed on. So this is what it looks like for this week. So I have the month, the name of the month up in the corner, the days of the for the week, for that week specifically, some habits or habit tracker. So this is my, you know, lifting weights, walking, sleep by 10 p.m., read a book. Sleep by 10 p.m. is always so hard for me. I am really, I want to achieve this goal, but I don't know how hard I actually want it because I've rarely ever put an X down. So I think I did have an X down, or at least in my app, I had checked it off last week sometime because I did go to bed by 10 o'clock at one of the nights. But again, this isn't about let's see how many X's we can get this week. In a way it is, but a lot of it is just let's try to move towards consistency. Like what can I do this week and how can I build upon it for the next week? And then I have, you know, things that I want to focus on this week. Again, this probably wasn't properly written out because I don't think I did these at all this week. But I have a lot of these little cute stickers that I just love to kind of highlight some of my different things that I have going on throughout the day. And then I go into my daily logs. So my daily logs have now changed where I kind of border off the today work and life. I have my date and the day itself, a prompt, and then again, then it goes into anything that I want to capture additionally for life in general. This one was a happy day because I got a new pen. I went to Staples to pick up some of these tabs because I was taking a course online, and I sort of journal all of my, you know, lecturing notes, I guess, if you will, into this one journal. And I wanted to be able to delineate or like section off the different courses. So I needed some of these tabs. So I bought those. And when I was there, I was like, let me just go look at the pen section because that is what a scrapbooker planner does, right? We go look at all the supplies. So I found the Pentel. So my current pen that I love so much is the Pentel Energel Clena. I just love how fine it is and how smooth it writes. And so I decided to look at the other Pentel, so this one I think was maybe $10 on Amazon. And I also bought refills for it. So that was handy. And then the other two that I bought were the Pentel Energel, just the standard pen. So these were like maybe $3, I think one was slightly more expensive, but one is 0.7, one is 0.5. I love the blue of this navy, or this blue of this pen. And then this is the burgundy color, which is like a deep, rich red, which I really like, as you can see here. And then I also picked up some new mild liners because I love mild liners. I just love how they don't bleed through. I love their colors. They're just versatile because it comes with a highlighter type nib, and then also comes with a marker type nib on the other side. So you can kind of use it to draw, to color, to highlight, etc. And then I had another happy day because I got more mild liners, but that's because my Amazon order came in. These ones came in a set, so I didn't have to buy them loosely, whereas these ones I had to buy loosely at Staples. And then just, again, day-to-day capture. And then this is yesterday. So this is, again, you know, me documenting prompt. And then I did a mindful art session. It's this workshop that I'm part of for the year. And we had to work through a personal manifesto. And so it was based on, you know, like the prompt of I love, I believe, I commit to. And then from there, you had to really kind of hone in on what your personal manifesto was. And so that's sort of what this was. And I just wanted to document that in here. And then this was the Blue Origin flight. I have some thoughts on it, which I won't share here, but had to journal about it because it, you know, had to really kind of process and think through kind of my thoughts and stuff. And then we get to, oh, sorry. So yes, this is yesterday, or no, this is today, April 18th. So here we are with the prompt and the layout and some of the stickers. And then we get to April 19th. So I did leave a page between the two because tonight I was at dinner with a few girlfriends, or the bridesmaids, so the friends of my friend, but I know some of them as well, or I've met a few of them, and we were out dress shopping and had dinner. And then I also went for a walk with a few new girlfriends as well. And so I wanted to leave space to capture the photos and document a little bit about those two experiences. And then I prepared April 19th, which is tomorrow morning, or tomorrow, which is Saturday. And I just did my today, my work and life to do, and then a prompt. And then I left the pages blank because I don't know what I might be on my mind, what I might journal about, what, you know, what might happen, etc. So I usually leave that blank until the evening of, and then I will set up my page for the next day at that time. Anyways, this was probably super long, longer than you may have needed, but hopefully this, you know, gives you a little insight into how I'm planning. And I think the next video I'll do is when I start May, I'll do a little video of kind of like a plan with me, so you can see how I build my layouts and prep for the month. Thanks for watching.